sir.
What's up, boy? WNBC. What's up, guys? Today is Thursday, Dispositions Thursday, June 20th. Whoop whoop. Yeah, I'm excited for today. It's going to be a long day for us. We have our monthly mastermind networking event, whatever the hell you want to call it, in our office every third Thursday of the month. This month, we're going over dispositions as the roundtable topic. So if anybody's in DFW, come on out. Everybody's invited. It is a fabulous time. It's a great networking event. There's nothing else like it in the entire Metroplex that I know of, where you actually sit down at a round table and you actually discuss what's going on in today's markets. Usually just stand there and you listen to somebody's story, but that's not ours. Come on out. It's always a great time. Today, I have Donovan with me. We are going to be going over dispositions. So, starting off, as always, if you have a question, you have a deal, you want to talk about something, drop it in the comments. The entire time that we're talking, please drop your comments, drop your questions, let us know how we can help you. Today we're going to be going over MailChimp. We're going to be going over InvestorLift, God Mode in particular. We're going to be going over Trelly. We're going to be using all of the tools that Donovan uses to dispo all of our deals.
Yeah, my goal is kind of try to go to like an A through Z of everything that I do. So we're going to start off just as if our acquisition team locked up a deal. What is my process as soon as I get something? How do I run my comps? How do I find the specs of the house? How do I get my ARV? And then what is my process to start disposition? And yeah, so we're going to go over everything that I use. There's a couple tools that I might mention or name that I don't use. These are tools that I've used previously in the past. InvestorLift, I think, has a lot of good data to the point where I'm able to use InvestorLift and not use these other platforms such as like PropStream, Propelio, and REI Pro. They're all very good platforms. Just at the end of the day, they all kind of have the same data. So it's nice if you can find that platform like InvestorLift that has all of that data wrapped into one.
So let's kick it off. How do you want to start today? What do you want to start off showing?
Yeah,
what
so
are we reviewing?
So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to pretend like we just got a new deal in. So I'm going to use an example of a deal that was sent to me yesterday. It's a property out in Cedar Hill. So the very first thing that you need to do anytime you do lock up a deal is, number one, communicate with your acquisition team. So communicate with whoever the person was that locked up this deal. The reason is I need to know everything about the deal. I need to know everything about the house. I need to know everything about the lot, and I need to know everything about the contract, because at the end of the day, I'm not selling this property. I'm selling the contract to this property. So I need to make sure that the buyer who is purchasing this contract from me knows absolutely everything about the property and the contract that they're purchasing.
It drives me fucking insane when the disposition kid knows nothing about the property.
Yeah.
Right? If they never walk the property, how can you sell it? And I'm not saying you have to walk every property, but you actually should understand what it looks like, what the characteristics of it is. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there with your foot in your mouth a lot of times, having to post back over and say, "Hey, let me get with the acquisitions team and find out."
Yeah.
And that's just going to make you look like unprofessional.
Yeah, and I mean, any sales, no matter what you're selling, if you don't know what you're selling, you're not going to be a good salesman. Like, that goes for cars, knives, real estate, anything. If you're not an expert on whatever product you're selling, no one is going to trust you to be able to buy it. Like, you don't need to sell your product. You need to sell, not only sell your product, but you need to sell who you are and why they need your product. So that's why it's very good to know absolutely everything about it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and kick it in. So I have a property out in Cedar Hill. So very first thing I'm going to do is obviously talk to my acquisition team, whoever locked it up. We're going to go over the contract together. If we have pictures of it, we're going to go over that together.
What are some key questions that you ask every time, right? So
Yeah, so number one thing is they're a leaseback. Leasebacks are very important. If for those who don't know what a leaseback is when you're allowing the seller to sell the property to you, close on it. However, they're going to stay in the property for X amount of days after we've closed on it. So and a good example is a 1 month leaseback. So if I set the close date to, let's say, January 1st, and they have a 30-day leaseback, then, 30 days after January 1st, they're going to get their money, but they still have 30 days that they're going to be able to stay in that property. And that'll be just to, sometimes the people need money to buy their next property, or they need help with moving expenses. So they need the money from this in order to go to their next spot. So that's why we give leasebacks. And typically, whenever we do leasebacks, we like to give some kind of incentive to make sure that they get out. So we'll do what's called a holdback. And a holdback, we'll do 5, or mostly we want it to be a good amount of money to where that they'll miss out on that money. So the number one thing that we like to do is like a 10K leaseback. So if I'm buying your house for $100,000, you're only going to get $90,000 at closing, and you will get the other 10K once you've moved out of the property. If you fail to get out of the property within X amount of days, then you lose that 10K. So even though we're under contract at $100,000, if you don't get out by the contracted date that we have on that leaseback, then that 10K is now ours, and I just purchased your property for $90,000. But I mean, at that point, we might have to go through with evictions and other long processes. So that's where that 10K goes to. It's not really us being like predatory over that 10K.
That 10K, is the seller going to have trouble with us holding on to that 10K, or where's that 10K?
Yeah. So I mean, that 10K at the end of the day is ours, but that's the money that we're promising them or giving them for their property. So it's our money that they should be getting. So, like I said, if we agree on a $100,000 price and they're only getting $90,000, then it might be our money, but technically after we close, that is their money, because that's what the contracted price is, and that's what they were promised.
What I want to just highlight, though, is that money is with title at escrow, right? So it's, when you're negotiating it, we use leasebacks all the time for an acquisition side, all right? It is a great tool. It's great negotiation. You're solving extra problems that typical wholesalers can't solve. So you're taking that money, you're leaving an escrow. If for whatever reason they're not out by XYZ, any issues, they break the lease back, now you're going back to title. Title's the third party source, right? So you're trying to always use the legal professionals.
Yeah, and title's job is to protect everybody at the end of the day. So that's another selling point whenever we do leasebacks. It's like, look, we're not holding your 10K. Title has the 10K. They're just, based on our contract, not allowed to release that 10K to you until you've abided by the terms on our contract.
How do we, or you, in a sense, right? How do you do leasebacks affect your resellability, right? How do you handle that? A lot of times people, how are we going to deal with that? A lot of times buyers don't want to deal with a headache, in a sense. So.
100%. It can, and it has. From my experience, any seasonal experienced investor has no problem with the leaseback. Anytime, especially in Texas, I mean, they're very common. Anytime I mention it to a buyer, they're always like, oh, cool, we do leasebacks all the time. As long as you have a good amount of holdback, most buyers are going to be okay with it. If you do a leaseback with like a $2,000 or $3,000 holdback, most buyers aren't going to want to do that because, okay, I'm letting this person stay in this property for another 30 days, and what I'm only going to get $2,000 out of that. That's not worth it. Because, like I said, if they do stay in, you know, it's possible you might have to go through an eviction process and a bunch of other headaches. And I mean, evictions don't happen like that. So that 10K could actually be eaten up very quickly, and it might even cost more than $10,000 just to get these people out of the property. So
I mean, that's just to get them out. That's not accounting for your holding costs. If you're doing a hard money loan, your lender fees, the front side origination. Now you're not starting until 45, 60 days into the 6-month term that you had, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things can get wrong with it. So make sure that you have enough security up front to justify the means of it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's move. I know I hung us up on the lease back. What's forward, right? So first thing we're gonna do is break down the property characteristics and stuff like that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, I mean, very first thing is you want to make sure that all the property specs are correct. So that's your beds, your baths, your square footage, your year built. So in order to do this, you always want to look at the realist tax. Let's see.
Actually, hold on. Before you pull it up, I'll sign in, and we can actually show them how to pull up the realist tax.
Nice.
Stand by. We signed into everything else except the MLS, which is always should be step one.
Yeah, and if you don't have MLS access, I mean, Zillow typically has the correct bed and bath as long as you're in the inner cities, so Dallas, Fort Worth, it's usually correct. When you start going to the outer skirts, it might not be as accurate. Also, I mean, people do additions all the time, and they don't get permits or they don't report it back. So the property specs might not always be the exact same, and that's something else that I have to talk to buyers about. Is, you know, I'll be marketing a 3.2 and they're like, hey, I just looked this up on Realist and it's showing a 2.1. So then I have to explain, you know, oh, they added an extra bath or this addition was put on. So it's always good to know exactly what you're selling, and also check, because I know from experience, anytime I send a deal to a buyer, this is a process and steps that they're going to take too. First thing they're going to do is they're going to look it up on the county appraisal website, they're going to look it up on Realist, and they're going to confirm that all the information that I'm giving them is correct. So I want to make sure that the info is correct, and if it's not, I want to make sure I at least have an explanation as to why it's different than what they're going to see online. And I want to be prepared for that. If I go on Realist or I go on CAD and I see 2.1, then in my marketing message, I'm going to put 3.2, and in parentheses, I might say like Realist tax says that it is 2.1, you know, reach out to me for that explanation or something like that. And that'll just help me with my credibility whenever I talk to these buyers.
So first step that I always like to do when this goes back to being a lender, right, is Google Maps it, Google Street View. That right there, if there is no Google Street View, guess what? Your property is rural. I will guarantee it, okay? If it's on a dirt road somewhere and Google can't get down the road, guarantee it's going to be rural. It's going to make your life so much more difficult, okay? Yeah. So go to Street View, do a 360, and just get a nice feel of the property, okay?
And your neighbors.
Step one, the neighbors, the neighborhood. Because how often is it that you'll get feedback that people like the house, like the price, but hate the neighborhood and hate the neighbors?
It happens a lot. And I mean, especially whenever you fix up a property and you list it on the market, your neighbors might be the thing that makes or breaks your deal. You know, if you could fix it up as nice as you want, but if the neighbor has, you know, a freaking mechanic shop going and they have like 20 broken down cars in their front lawn, no one's going to want to buy that house next to them, especially if they have power drills going on all the time. Or, I mean, even if it may back up to a commercial, and a lot of people don't like that. That's another thing that could make or break a deal. The other thing is I've had houses surrounded by townhomes. So, you know, it's hard to find, you're in like the one house in a little townhome community. So it's always nice to see exactly what you're selling, where you're selling, and know, you just be familiar with everything around you, whether it's in a cul-de-sac. You know, some people might even have trouble locating the house. I might give them an address and Google Maps just pulls up the one next to it, and they're like, oh, you're marketing something, but this looks like an empty lot. So it's always nice, like Nick said, to look at it first on Google Street View and just get a good idea of what you're looking at and what you're marketing.
All right, so take over. I don't want to.
Yeah, so next we're going to go, where's my mouse?
I think you have to pull it down.
There
You're
we go.
on that TV.
All right, so we're gonna go to realist tax. So this property is in Cedar Hill. Boom. So first thing I see right now is we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I keep losing this mouse. Here we go. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Our square footage is 1,600 square feet, 1973 build, and our lot is about 11,000 square feet. So that's, I mean, those are the main things you need to check and confirm. We looked at realist tax, so this is what the county has, this is what the, I guess, state of Texas has this house under. So like I said, there's times when realists might only have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but you know, they put in an addition, they put in an extra thing, and usually if that happens, that just means that they didn't pull the permits or they didn't report back. So the county or whoever it is might not know that it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, and it might still be getting taxed as, you know, a 2-1. But yeah, so just looking here really quick, so I see it's a 3-2, 1,600 square feet.
That also, before I don't want to cut them off, that
Mm-hmm.
also red flags things for you too, all right? So if you're looking things and you're looking at a property for a flip, okay, and you're pulling up a 2-2 and all of a sudden they're pitching as a 4-2, guess what? This probably wasn't done to code, possibly. When you get your lender involved, they're going to want everything up to snuff, so you're going to have to go through, clean up a lot of mess, like potentially, right? So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is these type of things should flag things, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that is something that most wholesalers don't think of, because we don't care about what happens to the property once we get rid of it. Like, whatever repairs or whatever code violations happen, that's all on the buyer. So knowing that buyers think that way, it helps me know how to market to them. Because you know, most wholesalers, like I said, they don't care, so they'll sell these properties and no repercussions to themselves. So whenever a buyer comes across a wholesaler that knows those repercussions and is you know, empathetic towards them and whatever processes they might have to go through, that just makes you look better as a wholesaler to these buyers. But yeah, so I mean, another thing you want to do is always check the flood map, see if it's in a flood zone. That'll also be something that makes or breaks a deal. So this one is just outside of a flood zone. So it looks like we're perfect. This house next to us might have a little portion in it.
I mean, that house next to it has to get flood insurance.
Yeah.
It is touching their property. Their lender is going to require it, okay? The fact that ours isn't is a huge saving grace.
Yeah.
I just want to touch base on one thing right now. I love that everything you're doing is identical to what Mason and I did on Tuesday when we were doing the acquisition talk. So many times people want to say disposition and acquisition's the same thing. If I buy something good enough, I can just put it up on wholesale and it's easy. No, dispositions is a whole nother beast. It is starting from step one and going through the process all over again.
Yeah.
Reviewing it completely top to bottom and understanding it, and then selling it, and you're doing the same legwork on the acquisition side, but now you're doing on this disposition side, trying to find buyers.
Exactly, and I mean, people make mistakes. I mean, there's times where, you know, Mason does go through all these steps, and I wanna verify all the steps that he did. So I'm gonna go through the exact same steps, and you know, maybe he went through everything, because we do so many deals for so long that he might forget to check the flood map. And you know, I'm gonna go to him like, hey, Mace, did you know that this was in a flood zone? That's not something you mentioned to me. And oh dang, I went over that, I missed that. So it's always good, like he mentioned, go through the same exact steps that your acquisition kit is doing. That way you can see the mistakes that if they made any or if they skipped over anything. That way, like once again, like we know exactly what we're selling and we're an expert on it.
And it's not like we never tell you, hey, go double check Mason's work before you start working on it. That's not what this is. He has to understand it 100% from his point of view in order for him to get top dollar for it, okay? And that means looking at it from, you know, analyzing it from step one.
Yeah. So, realist tax, we did that. So the second thing I want to do to verify this is just go to the county appraisal district. So we're going to do property search.
In Texas or in anywhere, you just type the county and CAD after it and you'll find it.
Boom. So here's our property in Cedar Hill. And I'm just going to verify everything I already saw. So I should see somewhere on here, 1973 build, 1,600 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, perfect. It's everything that ReiAF showed. So now I know this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1973, 1,600 square feet. So boom, all my specs are good. That's checked off. That's the very first thing you need to do. Okay, now that I have all these underway, now I need to go run comps and I need to see, okay, what does 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square feet, 1973 builds sell for in this area? Let me write this down really quick.
So while he's taking notes, some things to highlight, right? A lot of times in the state code down here, you'll see something funny if it stands out, all right? Or if it says multifamily, or if they have an addition. So just some things to go look at, right? Mm-hmm. What are they actually getting taxed as? What is their 3,800? This you should have this number written down somewhere. Tax value, estimated taxes. Okay, that should, I believe, right? It just makes it that much easier to have, and availability, and the more info you're giving your buyers, man, the more easier it is for them to review your deal, and then for them to say, yeah, it's a good deal, I want to buy that. Nothing pisses me off more when I have to analyze a deal, and the first thing I do is I click on the photos, and I have to request access, and it makes me jump through hoops just to look at fucking photos. Yeah. I'm deleting that email instantly. Say, fuck you, I'm not buying your deal, and move on to the next one, because there's so many wholesalers out there doing it. It's not hard to find a deal from a wholesaler on the acquisition side. Mm-hmm. So,
and the other thing I see a lot of buyers complain about is even on Facebook. I mean, people will post deals and they'll be like, "Oh, I have a 3-2. This is the price." They don't even put what city it's in. They don't put what the ARV is. They don't put what work it needs. So, so many. If you make buyers have to ask you questions about the property, I mean, most of these buyers are so busy that they don't have the time or patience to do that. And, you know, if you're pushing out info like that, you're going to get a lot of good investors just pass over your deal, all because you were too lazy to give them the information that they needed. So now that we have this, next I'm going to do is I'm just going to run comps really quickly on this. Just want to verify what my acquisition kid saw. I want to see if me and him agree on ARV, because at the end of the day, I think that's one thing that acquisition and dispositions kind of butts their heads on. I think acquisitions thinks, you know, oh, they're going to boost the ARV and the value ups. I think we can sell it for this. And then, you know, I go in and I do my numbers and I'm like, actually, you know, I got an ARV $10,000, $20,000 less than you. I think it'll actually sell for this. And I mean, they only see, you know, they just want to get a deal. They just want to lock something up. They want to put deals on the board. They want to, you know, go to the next one. So they're not really worried about the things that I'm worried about, which is like verifying these numbers. Because guess what? Any seasoned and experienced investor is going to go run these comps. And if my comps don't match their comps, then once again, I lose my credibility, and I might even lose a good buyer, all because I was lazy and didn't run the proper numbers or didn't verify the numbers that my acquisition kid gave me.
And it is a double-sided coin, right? Like the acquisition side, they are doing long-term follow-up. They are doing the rapport building. They're doing all those heavy burden tasks, but typically, unless it is a wholesaler, if it's a residential person that has multiple properties, it's a one-and-done deal, all right? Yeah. Very rarely are you following up with them afterwards. Whereas on the disposition side, you want to be married to that person, right? I used to use the term, I used to say, I want you to be successful because I want you to keep coming back to me, right? The more deals you do, the more deals I do, we're better together always, right? So you want to nurture those long-term relationships significantly more on the disposition side than on the acquisition side.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing is these acquisition, I mean, think about how many leads we have in our systems that have been in there for months, even years. So, I mean, that could be, Mason could have possibly ran this deal, you know, 5 or 6 months ago, and he just puts in the notes, you know, ARV is X amount, and then he locks it up a whole year later, and he's going based off the ARV that, you know, he ran X amount of time ago. You know, comps change all the time, so that's why it's good for me as a disposition to go in, verify these numbers, and make sure that whatever numbers he has is still relevant today. So I just went, typically I like to stay within 3 months. If there's not enough comps, then I'll go out to 6 months. So I went 0 to 180 days here. And I want to just stick to our neighborhood. So sticking to your neighborhood will give you the best comps. I don't want to cross any major streets or highways. So even if, I know this is all commercial, but let's say this was a neighborhood right here and I'm getting a bunch of comps, I would ignore those.
Even if that isn't, what is that? Fucking freeway, right? Even if that isn't a freeway and it's just a 2-lane road that has a stop line, you know, you still don't jump that barrier, right?
Yeah.
So you stay within the same neighborhood, okay?
So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm just trying to find ARV comps. So I'm trying to find houses that are fixed up, that are apples to mine. Let's see if I give a little wider search. Okay, so let's see. We have a 3.2, 1,600 square feet. So that's the first thing I'm gonna look for. Is okay. I got a bunch of 3.2s. Boom. This one right here, 3.2, 1,600 square feet. It's in my neighborhood. So I'm gonna click on this comp, and I'm gonna see, is this property fully fixed up? Once again, 3.2, 1,600 square feet, 1969. Ours is 1973. I mean, it's a couple years different. So this is an apples to apples comp. And I mean, from the looks of it, it's a fixed up property. So they painted the outside. Inside looks beautiful. This is a nice house, granite countertop. So this is an ARV comp. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So this is what I'm gonna call my ARV. The bathroom is fully fixed up. Whoever did this did a really nice remodel. And even another thing you want to look at is the size of the lot. So these people have the same size lot as us. I mean, you want to be careful with that because, I mean, I can see a 3.2, same square footage, same year built on 2 acres.
Yep.
You know, that's going to be a huge price difference in with the ARV. But this is exactly the same as ours, fully fixed up. This sold for $313. So this is my ARV comp right here. Let's see, if I look at these other ones, a lot of these other ones are bigger than ours. So here's another 3.2, 1,500 square feet. Sold for a little less, so I'm guessing this one is not fixed up. It was sold as is.
It's like rental grade.
Yeah.
All right, going back to rehabs, okay? There's no difference. Everybody says, oh, I'm doing this one rental grade. No, all you're doing is you're lowering your ARV, okay? So from a refinance lender, there's no such thing as rental grade. From a refinance lender, there's no such thing as rental grade. All you're doing is you're shooting yourself in your foot, okay? You're not getting that same ARV. Now listen, I understand when you're a landlord, you want to do different things. My point of it is a $300,000 house with a $50,000 rehab, right, might not be the same as a $300,000 house that had $120,000 rehab put into it, okay? That less rehab probably is going to bring that house down to more like a 460, okay, in real terms when it gets appraised, and that's what the lender has to base it off of. Did I say 260 or 460? Did I go up? I meant to go down. So autistic and whatnot, so apologize. Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that I'll never argue or tell a buyer is what their rehab cost is going to be. That's on them. I will tell you what the ARV is based on the comps because that's something that I can pull up, I can verify, and I can show you. What I can't tell you is, you know, oh, you're only gonna put $40,000 into this. That's not up to me. I always like to tell my buyers whatever rehab I give you is an estimate. Whatever you actually do, you know, that's on you. Some people, like you said, do less. Some people do more. So the only thing my job as a disposition agent is to tell you what this property could be worth if you put this amount of work in. However much work you put in is going to be up to you, and however that's going to obviously determine the value of it. Going back to this, I mean, our ARV looks like this is our only apples to apples ARV comp. Everything's a little bit too big for us. So that being said, our ARV on this property is 313. That being said, I'm gonna mark it as a 310 ARV. I want whenever I push this out, I want my buyers to run their numbers, and I want them to be like, oh, look, this kid's being kind of conservative on his numbers. I think most wholesalers, they'll look at this and they'll say, you know, 320 ARV. This one, you know, you could do so much more than these people did, and you can make your ARV more than anything that is sold on the market. once again, I'm not going to tell buyers what their ARV is going to be. I'm going to tell what they could do with the property. I'm going to tell them what has sold over here, and I'm going to be conservative with my numbers so that whenever they do run these deals themselves, I leave a little cushion for them, and they see that, okay, this kid's actually pushing out a reasonably priced deal.
There are so many times, especially when new investors get into the game, wholesalers, investors, whatever you want to call yourself, where they try to maximize profits past a reasonable expectation. Okay, when it comes to refinancing, right? They're pushing their rental rates, they're pushing everything to maximize the profit. Meanwhile, it doesn't make the deal any better or worse. On the wholesale side, okay, if you're trying to maximize your profits, a lot of times you're going to have more failed drop contracts. You're actually going to have more days on market. Your turn time might not be as consistent. You're going to piss off your buyers. Okay, there are so many more things that can shoot you in the foot. Just trying to add $5,000 of profit. Meanwhile, you can drop $5,000 of profit and sell it that much faster. Have a happier buyer, a successful transaction overall. Those are the things that make people successful, okay? Price things right, price things accordingly, do more volume. I can't stress this enough. People on the refinance days were fucking chasing an eighth of a rate. Meanwhile, they would stay in that same loan for 6 months longer, just trying to wait for rates to come down. Meanwhile, you could have done 2 more in that same time frame, right? So always go for transactions.
Yep. So now that I've got this, next thing I'm going to do is come up with my asking price. So these are the numbers I run. I think most buyers buy between 70 to 80% of ARV. I'm always going to push out my deals at 80% just to give myself room for negotiation. So with this deal, let's see, we have a 310 ARV. Or can we pull up a calculator? Maybe?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just about to do. Oh, no, wait.
Nice.
Oh, shit. Stand by, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, it's down there in the bottom of the TV.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, we're going to do just really simple math right now. So our ARV on this property is 310. So we're going to go $310,000. And then we are just going to multiply that by 80%. So that gives me 248. Now you're going to subtract whatever your repair costs are going to be on this. Like I said, this is always going to be an estimate. Our house is very clean. It kind of looks like the other as-is comp that I showed you. You know, it's kind of like the rental grade. So something like that will only probably need like 20, 30,000 to get it to that 310 ARV spec. So now I'm just gonna subtract. I'm gonna put 30,000 just because, like I said, I like to do conservative numbers. It might only cost these people maybe 15 to 20,000, but I want to
Over promise, under deliver?
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Over deliver, under promise.
Yep, that's it.
I said it. Catch that. Pause it. Reverse it.
So we're just gonna subtract 30,000 from this. Boom. So my asking price is gonna be 218. Now I hope Mason locked this up for 118, but I mean, you never know. So, but this is, now that I have the property specs, I know what the property looks like, I have my pictures, I have everything. I have my asking price, I have my ARV, I have my estimated repair cost. Now I can get all of that and turn it into I can make my marketing message. So this is gonna be the message that I send buyers out, which is gonna have all that information that I just did. So that's what we're gonna go into next, is how to make a marketing message, or how to make one that, I mean, so many people make different marketing messages, and I'm not gonna tell you one way is right and one way is wrong. Personally, what I believe is, like Nick said, number one, you don't want to make buyers jump through hoops to get information. You want to put all the information that they want and they need in that marketing message. That being said, I personally don't like to give too much information. Because I don't, like I said, these people are so busy, they get so many deals. If you send somebody a marketing message that's freaking a book long, no one is going to read that.
You also don't want to tell them what they're doing with the property,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't want to fit the. If I say, hey, great burr opportunity, and you're just a flipper, you're going to skip right over that too, right? So,
yeah, you shoot yourself in the foot by doing stuff like that.
Don't pigeonhole yourself into a corner. I don't even know if that made sense.
Yeah, some people will say like, oh, this is a great rental opportunity. If I don't have any rentals, I'm not going to look at it because I'm just looking to fix and flip this. And usually when someone says great rental opportunity, it means they're asking too much for it, and saying that it's a rental is just justifying their price and why it's priced so high. So whenever you do things like that, yeah, you do scare a lot of buyers away. Let's see, let's pull up our notes. I'm just going to make...
Give me a fucking panic attack. Open up a company notepad. No idea what's on it on live.
So you know what? This is a good example of a marketing message. Can they see this?
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice.
I'm gonna make it bigger for him.
Cool, cool. Let me do a new one. Oh, shoot. How do I make a new one? Or actually, let's go to my presentation because I have just kind of a little template that they can go by. Boom.
Go through it.
Okay, so this is just how to make a very simple and easy to read marketing message. So at the very top, you're gonna have the address, obviously. Under that, you're gonna have all the property specs. So you're gonna put your beds, your baths, how many car garages it is, the square footage, your year built, and then I'm gonna put my lot size. After that, I'm gonna go into what the property actually needs, and I'm only gonna list the majors, which is gonna be your roof, your foundation, your HVAC, and your electric and plumbing. So with that, you always wanna either put the age or the condition of it. So my roof, okay, how long ago was the roof repaired? Was it ever repaired? Is it original? And then same with the foundation. Is the foundation original? Has the foundation ever been leveled? Does the foundation need to be leveled? Is the foundation slab or pier and beam? These are all things that you need to know about this property, and these are all things that buyers are going to ask you. The second thing, the HVAC. Has the HVAC ever been worked on? Is there HVAC? Does it have window units? Does it need HVAC? Is it ducted but it still needs a unit? So these are all things like once again I said you need to have this information for the buyers because this is all things that can make or break your deal whenever they punch their numbers and are looking at whatever it's going to cost to rehab this property. And then electric and plumbing are something that I think, I mean, most places the electric and plumbing are going to be original. If there's no issues with it, then most people never touch the electric or plumbing. If there's plumbing issues, you know, if you say there's no plumbing issues and then your buyer goes and walks this and every single toilet is backed up and there's freaking brown stuff in the sink, then, I mean, that just makes you look bad. You don't know what you're selling. If you say the electric is good, but they go and none of the lights work, or, I mean, only some of them do and then they flicker on and off. I mean, these are all things that you need to know about the property.
On a catch-22 side, right? If you don't know the information, don't put it there, right? So and write unknown.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how the actual plumbing is on the sewer line or something like that, right? Just list what you do know and don't know. If you have photos of the bathrooms and they're demolished, just put that photo of the bathroom demolished and then say plumbing condition unknown, right? To be determined or some shit. Let them draw their own conclusion too.
Yeah.
If you hide that photo of the bathroom and you say, no, it's good, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to have issues later on.
And I mean, most sellers, they don't know all this stuff. They don't know if, I mean, they might have bought the house 2 years ago. I don't know when the roof was last done. The previous owners told me that the previous owners did it 10 years ago when they bought it. So like I said, those are all things. If you don't know, don't say you know. I actually saw a quote from, I think it was Adonis on a podcast the other day. He said he hates the fake it till you make it people. The people who are constantly trying to act like they know these things, because once you do come across someone that is experienced and they catch you in your lies, I mean, you lose all credibility and respect from that person. There's nothing wrong with not knowing something, especially if you're new to this business. Like, if you're new, I mean, don't say like, oh, I've done X amount of deals, been doing this for X amount of years. But I mean, someone asks you a simple question and you don't know what EMD stands for. You don't know what an assignment of contract is. Like, don't. It's not always bad to not know anything. You know, people respect that. There's realtors I talk to that have been doing this for 10, 15 years, and they're on the retail side. They don't know what an assignment of contract is, and it's okay. I'm willing to sit there and explain to them what it is, and you know, I'm not a scammer. I'm not sitting here trying to take your client's property or scam them out of it. So it's okay to not know something and let people know that so that they can educate you. What's not okay is for you to lie about things, lie on things that you don't know, because once you do get caught in that lie, you're just gonna make yourself look bad. So going back to this, so the next thing that I want to do after all the property specs and the property condition is a link to your pictures. Nick said it earlier, do not make buyers jump through hoops just to look at pictures. I mean, pictures are so easy. Like, make a freaking picture link, make a Dropbox in Google. Like, it is so easy to give access to pictures. I hate whenever someone sends a deal, you click on their picture link, and it's like, oh, in order to get this, reach out to whatever agent sent it to you, or sign up for this program, or if you don't have a login, then you can't get these pictures.
But aren't we scared of people stealing our houses?
I'm not scared of you stealing a fucking picture. Like,
right?
It's a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and honestly, I'm not scared of anyone stealing my deals, because I've been doing this long enough to where, one, people know me and know not to steal my deals because they know that they'll get blasted on Facebook and no one will ever do deals with them again. Two, I also like to qualify whoever I send my deals to. So if I think you're not an end buyer, if I think you're someone that could possibly steal this deal from me, you're not going to get my marketing message to begin with. So you're not even going to get the opportunity to steal my deal. But no, I'm not. And then on the third part of that, I mean, we file memos. So even if you try to steal my deal, guess what? I have a memorandum so that you'll never be able to go around. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to either pay me or deal with me if you want to get this deal around me.
And I want to highlight that we use Company Cam. We have no affiliation with them. We are just a subscriber of them. And it's a great tool. If you're not using it, you don't need to. You don't have to go add it to your kit. But it's a great tool for us. We use it. It integrates with a lot of our CRMs, and it just blasts everything out. We'll show it later.
Yeah, I'll show it. I'll have an example. And then under that, we're gonna go to our numbers. So this is your ARV, your rehab, and your sales price. So we just did this. So for that other one, our ARV was 310. Our estimated repairs was 30,000. So and my sales price is 218. That's it. Your marketing message is technically done. The only thing I'm going to put additional is if there's any terms on the front side contract that the buyer needs to know about. Anything that's not as simple as, you know, you're buying it for this amount and we're selling it to you for this amount. Like I said, if there's a lease back, if there's additional closing costs associated with it, if there's, I mean, I've had sellers say, oh, I'm keeping the shed in the back.
I was just about to say,
these are all things that the buyer needs to know.
Anything that makes your property a white elephant, as we like to call it, right? Anything that's going to make it stand out, make it unique, put it there, right? Properties filled with boats.
Yeah.
Fucking fiberglass boats. You have to get rid of them.
There's 200 tires in the backyard. I mean, these are all things that they need to know because that's going to cost them a lot of money. If it's a hoarder property, if it's a clean out, it needs to be not only, you know, my estimated rehab might be 30,000, but guess what? It's going to need another $10,000 just to clean out this property because there's freaking beer bottles and diapers from floor to ceiling.
We found an extra bathroom. Sorry, we found an extra bathroom when we bought a house from a hoarder. The wholesaler didn't know what he actually had. Didn't walk the property, and when we cleaned it out, there was a bathroom in the back that nobody even knew about. So.
And then very last thing on my marketing message is just going to be my contact information. So you don't want to shoot it out and then buyers interested in this and they're like, oh shit, how do I reach out to this person? So I always put my phone number and my email there. Just so, once again, don't make them jump through hoops to get this deal under contract. I have my picture link there. I have my number there. If I have my price there, if you want it, here's my phone number. Give me a call, shoot me an email, and it's as easy as that.
It's funny because I end up yelling at people because they try to hide their email. Right, email address should be everywhere. You should like trip over people's email address because That's how you find everything, right? People find you, find deals. Don't make yourself hard to find, all right? That's what your cell phone's for. If you don't want that public information out there, don't put that information out there. But guess what? You can filter emails. You can unsubscribe from them. But if you're in sales, you need to get yourself out there. You need to get everybody's email address, everybody's phone number, save that shit, and build your list. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and I mean, think of realtor, like you can Google almost any single realtor's name and their phone number will always pop up. As a realtor, you want to be accessible to the public. You want someone to be able to reach out to you if they want to list or if they want to buy something. You want to be able for people to reach out to you. And if you're not comfortable with your phone number, there's so many apps and websites where you can get another phone number. You can get a freaking Google Voice phone number and you use that. You don't have to put your personal number out there to the masses, but you should have some easy way for people to contact you.
I don't know if Casey's here in the live, but Casey Huff is my favorite. He's got more phone numbers on his systems than anything. And then if anyone ever gets struck, he literally kills it and gets two more, right? He doubles them like a what's that three-headed snake head? Hydra, like a hydra. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean even Tony has two phone numbers on one phone. So like he has a personal phone number and then he has his real estate phone number that people reach out to, and that's what's on the business cards, that's what's on his pages. So I don't think you should worry about people not having your contact information if you're in some kind of form of sales.
So message.
Yeah,
Where do you blast that now?
Everywhere. So this is my message that is going to be put out to the masses. This specific, so all the information, I'm not going to blast everywhere. I might, take out a few things. Like for an example, when I blast it on Facebook, I'm not going to put the address on Facebook, but everything else will be on there. So that's just, like you said, to avoid people trying to snake you out of a deal and go around you. Anything on social media, I would avoid putting the address on. However, everything else should be there, and if your contact information should be there. So if someone does want this, it's as easy as shooting me a call or text just to get that address. That's the only hoop I would say that you should make people go through, because if you make it too easy to get the information, for an example, to the address, then I mean it doesn't take a very smart person to skip trace that address and give the seller a call and try to steal this deal from you.
Not even that. People don't realize how easy it is just to find properties. You take the front of the house photo and drop it into Google or reverse image. Guess what? Google image is going to show you where that property address is.
Yep. So once you've done the marketing message, now it's time for you to actually start marketing this deal. So this is my process whenever I start marketing. My process isn't the process. It's not the only process. I know there's a lot of other people that do different processes. They might have more or less than I do. They might be able to sell a deal just, doing the first or second thing, and they don't even mess with the other things. But this is exactly what I do and what I make anyone who works for me in the disposition department do to sell a deal. If you're able to follow these steps and you cannot sell your deal, at that point, I think it's easy to say
there's something wrong with the deal.
Yeah, you don't have a deal. If you can go through, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, and in some of these 7 steps, there's sub-items to those. So, there could be, 10 to 20 steps in here of marketing. So if I go through all of these and I can't sell a deal, your numbers are wrong.
Each one of those steps, so maybe VIP buyers is a couple hundred, but email blasts I know is thousands.
Yeah.
Old social media is thousands. Cash buyer list back down to hundreds. Inquired an area before, back down to hundreds. So what I'm getting at is there's multiple thousands of people are looking at that deal. By the time you run through those 7 steps, which is actually 20, tens of thousands of people have looked at the deal. If there's something wrong with the deal, you're getting that feedback.
Yeah. And this is something I always try to preach. Dispositions is about marketing. There's a sales side to it, yes. You can make more money by, doing some negotiations and, being a good salesman. But at the end of the day, I am talking to real estate professionals. All of my end buyers are people who have been doing this for so long that they are professionals in this, and they don't really need to be sold on something. They look at the numbers and they say deal or no deal. That's it. I don't need to sit there and tell them, like you said, oh, this is great burr, or this is a great rental, or the ARV could be this if you add an extra bathroom. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and tell motherfuckers that.
Great opportunity
Sorry.
for pad split.
But yeah, so I mean, it's all about marketing. It's about who I want to, one, get this to the right person, and if not, get this to as many eyes as possible until I find that right person. It's all about marketing. If you're not good at marketing, then and you're only good at sales, then guess what? Acquisitions is where you should be, because acquisitions, you don't handle any marketing. All your job is to pick up the phone and be a good salesman and to pitch to the seller whatever product you're selling, whatever you're trying to give them to get them under contract. But on the disposition side, it's all about marketing. It's all about getting your deal out to as many people as possible and the right people as well. So that's kind of where this very first step comes from, is the VIP buyers. For me, this is a little different for everyone else. For me, a VIP buyer is anyone who has purchased a property from me already. So as soon as you purchase something from me, you're automatically uploaded to my VIP buyers list. What that means is you now have first access to my deals before anyone else. Before I do this email blast, or before I post it on Facebook and all these other places, I'm gonna send it to you first, because I know that you perform, I know that you do good business, and I know that you're not gonna try to snake me out of this deal because you've purchased from me in the past. So very first step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this out to my VIP buyers. If I get an offer, or if I get a sale right then and there, that's the perfect disposition process. Boom. I make every disposition agent's goal should be to make one phone call and get the deal sold that one time. It's not always that easy. It's not always that perfect, especially if you're trying to get top dollar for your deal.
Wait, you're saying we don't do the bidding process? We don't kick it out and say offers all the way up until X amount of time, and then we take the highest and best and we try to work sellers against each other?
No.
Why don't we do that? Aren't we leaving thousands of dollars potentially on the table?
Yes, but by doing that, you're possibly leaving even more thousands of dollars by ruining relationships with buyers. So if you do that, okay, I saw a post, actually someone, Mike Guerrero posted something today.
You are the name-dropping king.
I am. I'll
the
name
other
any
day
more
you were
names.
like, man, sorry, we can't use that video. I name drops people. And then name-dropping all the left and right. I love it. Don't worry.
So Mike made a post today, tagged the wholesaler and everything, a screenshot. Their marketing message said, like, first come, first serve, put in your bid. He put in the bid, got a message saying, congratulations, you were the highest offer, you get this property. He then got a call from the disposition agent saying, congratulations, you're our highest offer, here's this. So he said, awesome, I'm gonna go walk it, send me the assignment and the wiring instructions. He went out to the property, he walked it, he followed up with them like, hey, I haven't received the assignment yet. Guess what that wholesaler did? Oh, we received a higher offer. This man got 2 confirmations and spent his time going out walking this property just for them to say that he got a higher offer. And then guess what that disposition agent did? Oh, if you have an issue, you can talk to my supervisor. Supervisor called him and said, I'm not gonna pass up on a $7,000 profit, higher profit. So that wholesaler chose $7,000 over a relationship with Mike, who is a very good buyer. For those of you who don't know who Mike is, you should get him on your buyers list. He's a good, reputable buyer. And that $7,000 costed them possibly hundreds of thousands if Mike would have, because Mike blasted them and told them.
Listen, it's a small network.
Yeah,
it's a small
it's so
network
small.
that are actually doing deals, and this is throughout the entire country. People, do not burn bridges over $5,000, $10,000. That in the
It's
long
not
run,
worth
you're
it.
trying to make a career out of this. Trust me. Holy
It's not worth
shit.
it. Especially if you're marketing your deal as a first come, first serve. First come, first serve means first come, first serve. Like,
Yeah.
there's no other. If you want to create a bidding war, then say highest and best. Say that in your marketing message. Don't set up your freaking marketing.
Don't change shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you already agreed to their price.
So I wanna move things along and just get into some tools, right?
Yeah.
So we went over your message. We went over who we're gonna send it to. So I want to show how you actually do it, right? take over.
Yeah, so the next step obviously is our email blast. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually make an email blast of a deal that we just got. So I'm gonna make this, I'm just gonna show how simple and easy it is. I'm gonna show exactly what my emails look like and how fast I can make them to get it blasted out. Let's see.
You're over here.
Awesome, here we are.
Yeah.
Cool, so somewhere.
Always down.
There. All right, MailChimp. This is what MailChimp looks like. There's a lot of different websites and platforms that you can use. I prefer MailChimp. I like MailChimp. I'm not saying you have to use MailChimp, but this is how I do it, and this is how easy it is to do it. So these are just previous deals that I blasted. I'll give you a good example. Let's do this house in Dallas. So this is what one of my email blasts looks like. So it's obviously our company name up here. Just a nice little front picture of the property.
If you click on the photo, what happens?
It'll take you to a picture link.
It goes to the pictures.
And then under here, I have another picture link. Click here for pictures. Once again, and if you click here, guess what? It doesn't make you jump through any hoops. You get every single picture.
What system is that?
Company Cam.
That's Company Cam
This
right
is Company
there.
Cam.
Which then, all right, so it's giving them a link to go look at all the photos, easy as shit. They can download all of the photos. Like, we're not making them jump through hoops.
And the good thing about Company Cam is I can even put videos in here. So obviously whoever went out and got pictures of this did a very good job on getting a lot of pictures. That's something else that I get onto my acquisition guys about. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that go out initially to look at these properties prior to locking it up. So I tell them, take as many pictures as possible when you're out there, because I do not want to have to go out and just to get more pictures because you didn't do your job and get enough pictures.
Like, these photos are good. They're telling the full story of the property.
That was 4 pictures of the bathroom, like from different angles.
I hate when people take one photo of just a random hole in a wall and that's it, right?
Yeah.
They don't have any actual details. They
You're like,
don't
what
show-
room is this in?
I mean, I'm clicking through. I started at photo 30.
Yeah.
But you should always start photo 1, should be outside the property, and then take them through a journey, right? You should be able to just click next and say, all right, well, now I feel like I'm in the back of the house, and this is XYZ. Oh, now we're outside. It's not hard to do. Just set up your photos in a way.
My goal whenever I'm taking pictures or whenever I have someone taking pictures is I want to create like a virtual tour like apartments have. If you go to any good apartment management company website, you go and they have virtual tours, and you go and it'll show the front of it, and then you click the little arrow and it takes like 2 steps forward. You click the second arrow 2 steps. You click the right arrow, it turns around. You can see the entire layout of the property just through photos. That is exactly what I want to do with these. I want to start at the front door. I want to, a couple steps. I want to turn around. I want, whenever I go through these pictures, I want to be able to see this house exactly every angle just from these pictures. My goal is to have buyers not even need to walk the property. I want them to look at my pictures and videos and say, I know exactly what this house needs and how I'm going to rehab it, so that they, I have so many buyers buy my houses sight unseen because we take such good photos and videos of the property. They don't need to go out and walk it. So yeah, that's just something that I always preach a lot. And if you're a wholesaler and you want, good reputable business with your buyers, take as many photos and videos as possible.
The only thing that would change whether or not I walk out and actually walk this property is going to be the elevation changes, right? I'll be able to feel the elevation, how bad it is. But I'm not seeing indication of elevation things, right? So, like you make it for a way that somebody in fucking Kansas can buy this property, right? You don't limit your buyer pool. You always broadcast it to the biggest amount. Goes back to what he said about marketing, right? Disposition is all about marketing.
Yep.
Sorry, keep going.
All good. And then, boom, this is my marketing message. So this is exactly what y'all saw earlier. We have my address, my property specs, the lot ARV, estimated rehab. For this particular deal, this was actually a JV, so I didn't have the information of the majors needed. The wholesaler that sent it to me didn't know the age of the roof, the HVAC, foundation, all that. So what did we say earlier? If you don't know don't put it there. I didn't know, so I'm not gonna sit there and lie or pretend like I knew about it. And then once again, right here, estimated rehab, $50,000. So this is what I estimated. This is just showing the breakdown of my numbers. So my asking price was because I took 80% of this and then subtracted 50%, and that gave me my 162. Simple as that. And then once again, have your contact information here. Anybody who sees my property knows how to get a hold of me. If they want to make an offer, it's as easy as giving me a call or text or shooting me an email. And then this is something that I recently just started doing, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it, so I'm going to continue to do this, and I advise for y'all to do it as well. These are just my links and additional information. So as you can just read here, you can click to get comps. So if I click here, these are the comps that I uploaded for this property. So I've already went out, I ran the numbers. So boom, here are my ARV comps. So I have 3 houses. They all sold between 250 to 255. Let's see what I called my ARV. And 265.
So what's that doing, right? What's providing comps actually allowing you to do?
So it's one, saving the buyer's time. They should be able to look at my comps and be like, oh, okay, this kid ran comps. These are good comps. I think these ones are a little smaller than ours, so that's probably why I said 265. Like this house right here is 700 square feet. Our house was almost 1,700 square feet, so I have almost 1,000 square feet more. So that right there, that's why my ARV was a little bit higher than these ones. So I'm showing buyers, look, a house that was 700 square feet fixed up sold for 250. This will sell for 265, 1,000 square feet more, easily. I was probably conservative on that. It might be able to sell for 270, 275 more. And not only that, but not all buyers have access to the MLS. Some of them, have to hire a realtor or shoot a realtor $100 just to run comps for them really quick. This is saving them the trouble from going or do that. The other thing that I have buyers do is they go run comps on fucking PropStream and Zillow. So they're doing that, and if someone like that comes to me and tries to argue my ARV, and then they send me a screenshot of Zillow or PropStream, I'm gonna laugh at their face. I'm gonna send them these comps from the MLS, and I'm gonna tell them to go talk to a realtor and get back to me once they, actually do their own research.
What I wanted to hear, and you said it, was it allows you to argue your point, right?
Yeah.
You're setting yourself as the professional, saying, hey, XYZ, these are the full details of the deal. Why? Because of XYZ. You have all of your evidence there, and then they have to go and they have to dispute the evidence, right? So
exactly.
They either have to provide better comps, which is true. If you provide better comps, then blow holes in us, right? We're going to blow holes in you, blow holes in us, right?
I am open. If any buyer says, oh, I don't agree with these comps, here's my comps, send me your comps. I will look at them and I will say, I agree with you, or this is why I don't agree. That's part of the reason why I said disposition isn't really about sales. I'm not going to sit here and pitch these comps to them. These comps pitch themselves. I should be able to send this PDF and I don't have to say a word. Read the comps. If you want to argue with me, then send me your comps and then we can, compare comps. But I'm not going to sit here and try to pitch like, oh, if you do this and this, then, my comps actually make more sense. No, send me your comps, I'll send you mine, and we can see whose comps are better. That's really it. The next thing is click here for tax records. So this is going to take you to Realist Tax. Once again, this is just saving buyers time from looking at the property specs. This is going to prove to them that I'm marketing a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square feet, 1922 build. So I'm just trying to make the buyer's life as easy as possible. That way that they see my marketing message, they like all this so much that they're like, okay, I like this kid. You know what? I was gonna try to maybe haggle him for a couple $1,000, but I'm just gonna give him his asking price.
If I review a wholesaler's deal, all right, and I always go in there, I go on Facebook, I jump on wholesalers' lists all the time. If I review a wholesaler's deal and it's trash, meaning the numbers don't make sense, the math doesn't math, even if it's from their point of view, I will still get their emails, but I will stop reviewing them, right?
Yeah.
Like it just instantly, I say, oh, I'll see that email blast come across, and I say, no, this person sends out bad deals.
Yep.
Okay, so it comes down to your job isn't to get a bad deal across the finish line. No, right? It's supposed to have your good deal for everybody, right? You're going to make a profit on it. You're going to solve some sellers' issues. Your buyer's going to have a good deal that they're going to have a profit on. They're going to be successful, whatever their business model is. If they're going to refinance it, turn it into a cash flow cow, if they're going to flip it and make a huge profit, whatever it is, you want them to be successful because they then come back for repeat business, right?
Definitely, definitely. Next thing I do is I put the CAD link. So once again, these are all things that we did at the very beginning. So this is just helping buyers.
How long does this, just adding those extra links, does that drastically
5-10
increase?
minutes.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
not
y'all
changing
saw how
your day.
fast we did it in the beginning. It's as simple as like copying this link and pasting it in this MailChimp.
They're all steps that you should already be collecting on the front side anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you should be doing this yourself. So why not give that to the buyers? Why not make their lives easier? This second one, click to view it on Google Maps. I know it's easy for someone to go to Google or Apple Maps and just type it in. Guess what? I made it so easy for them. They click on my link and it takes them to the street view. Boom. Once again, these are all things we did in the beginning. So they can look around. Look, this is, I mean, this house is fixed up. I don't know about that one. This one is nice, looks a little newer, so they can see, you know, okay, this is a nice little area. I should be able to fix this up and get this sold, you know. There's not a mechanic shop next to me or any commercial things that I might have to worry about. And then the very last thing is a link to view more of our property. So this is a link to my website. So let's say, you know, they saw this, oh, I'm not really buying in Dallas, but, you know, let's see if they have anything else in Tarrant County. So this will take them to our website. This is where we post all of our properties. I advise you to have your own website. It helps, you know, especially when I go to networking events. If someone's like, oh, what deals do you have right now? I just send them this link. You know, look for yourself. I'm not going to send you 20 text messages with 20 different properties and blow up their phone, and they're not going to read or look over any of them. It's easy to just send a website, and then, you know, they go on here and they see what we have available, sold, and once again, this has all the information that they need on there.
you don't have to have. I'm going to go one step out there and say you don't have to have a website. If you're first starting out, right, you want to have one central location for all of your properties to easily be found, okay? So if you're just starting out, you don't want to go spend money on a website and build it out and all that. Well, if you're using MailChimp to build out things, just add them to your buyers list and mail them out every day and say, oh, you're giving them something to go and find, right, in one central location. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's why I want to make sure, you know, just not that you said anything wrong.
I love that because,
like, yeah, I want to, people in the beginning, they get so fucking hung up on, oh, I have to go build this out, or I have to go find this tool.
They get in this
no, you have to go out there and
paralysis.
start. You have to go out there and start doing the work first. That's step one. These things are just what makes our life easier.
Yeah, to add to that, in the 3.5 years I've been doing this, I've had this website for probably 6 months. So guess what I did the other 3 years? MailChimp. I would do one blast that has all of my properties, and MailChimp allows you to, let's see, I'll show you. MailChimp allows you to share these. So not only do you email blast them, but I can come here, I can hit social share. And then it'll give me a link. I can copy that link and I could text that to people. So what I used to do was I would make, you know, one blast that just has all the properties on there. So, you know, property 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would get this link, and then buyers like, oh, what deals do you have right now? I would send them that link, and all they have to do is click on that link, and it'll pop up the email blast. And it'll show all of them. So that's what I have been doing for the past 3 years.
You can take that link right there, put it on the back of a QR code, right? Put it on a QR code, link it to our QR code, which is free. And then guess what? Now you have a readily, easily available way for people to find all of your deals in one go, right? And you didn't spend a fortune on some tech guy to go build a website or a home base or a brand, right? Don't reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Quick plug, I have a lot in Waco if anyone wants to buy it. I had a little dick buyer that backed out last minute, so anyways, back to what we were doing. So that was, actually, I can show. So the very, very bottom of this, and this is something else I also just added recently just to save myself headaches from arguments or just buyers coming back after we've sold them the property saying, oh, you didn't say this, you didn't say this. these are all disclosures that I put in my email blast. So if any buyer tries to come argue these, I'll just send them a screenshot of this and say, look, this disclosure was in my email blast. So if you didn't read it, that's on you, but it was in there. And most of this stuff is either in our contract or assignment. I just put it here so that people can read it. And I'll go through these really quick. So one, the property is being sold as is. So I have so many buyers that are like, oh, you know, they give me an offer, they'll take it, but then as soon as they walk it, they're like, I need all this trash taken out. No, you're buying this as is. I don't care if more things are added. You're buying it as is. Whatever the property looks like, whenever you walk it, that is how you're buying it. I'm not taking anything out. I'm not doing anything special for you. I'm not gonna cut the grass. I had one dude ask if we can mow the yard for him before he closes on it. I'm not doing anything. You're buying this property as is from us. Whatever offer you give me is your offer for the way the property is as it sits.
And that goes along with your marketing though too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't hide shit.
Do not hide anything.
That like if it was something shockingly and it was, oh listen, all right, we didn't know about it, you didn't know, all right, well that's a different discussion. But if you go around and you hide it and you said this property is rent ready and they get there and they find nothing but trash, holes in the wall, right?
Yeah.
You're just deceiving people. You're gonna set yourself up for failure. So.
To add to that, so my next thing says, we do not ensure the property will be delivered vacant or with contents emptied. This I had to add after arguing almost 3-4 different times with buyers, with them asking, you know, oh, I'm only going to close if it's vacant. Well, you know, this property's on a lease back, or I told you that it has to be evicted, or, you know, there's too many trash in here. I'm not going to close it. Well, no, you're purchasing it as is, and I'm not ensuring that the contents will be emptied. So once again, that's just something I had to add after, you know, doing this for so long and having so many conversations with buyers. Property availability / listing subject to change at any time. I don't change my listings personally, but you know, if I have to, sometimes I might do a price drop. So that's kind of what that goes to. If I'm marketing a deal for $20,000, it doesn't sell, guess what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna price drop it to 15. So that's really it. The second thing is buyer to pay for all normal closing costs. I think anyone that's been doing this for a while knows that that's law. That's what everyone goes by. I don't know a single wholesaler that doesn't require buyer to pay for all normal closing costs. And even when, you know, locking up a deal, whenever you talk to sellers on the phone, that's a selling point is, you know, the buyer will pay for all your closing costs if you get this under contract. So that's one thing. Second thing is buyers need to do their own due diligence. So I make their life very easy and simple by putting these comps, doing everything. But at the end of the day, you are purchasing a property for tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why are you not doing your own research? Why are you not running your own comps? Why are you not going and looking at the neighborhood yourself? Like, these are all things that you think you shouldn't have to tell grown men and women to do when purchasing a property. But I mean, you'll be surprised. they'll buy things based on, you know, something that they saw on Facebook or something, and then try to throw it back in your face whenever, you know, it hurts them later. This is all things that you should do yourself. The second thing, this is our company policy, but the EMD, so that's your deposit, is $5,000 minimum. I don't negotiate. The only time I will negotiate that is if you're buying a lot from me for $8,000. Like at that point, okay, I'll put your earnest down maybe, but guess what? We don't sell lots for $8,000. So I sold a lot recently for $18,000, and guess what? I still made him put $5,000 earnest. So that's law. Like, if you're not gonna put down $5,000 earnest, then you're not gonna get this deal from us. The second thing, like I said, I've had a lot of buyers purchase from us sight unseen. I love when buyers do that. However, if you're purchasing sight unseen, there's more. What am I trying to say?
We've had it used against us where people will try to come back, renegotiate, or back out. They'll try to use that as like a weasel clause. Mm-hmm. We push everybody to go see our properties.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to buy sight unseen. I want you to see exactly what you're buying. Like I said, this is do your own due diligence. You should look at this property. If you think, I mean, if you have the biggest nuts in the world and you think like, oh, I don't need to see this, I got the money, I'll put it sight unseen. I mean, that's awesome, but guess what? I'm gonna make you put down $10,000 earnest.
We're gonna hold that against you.
Yeah, because you're not gonna walk the property prior to closing and then come back to me and try to renegotiate with me, because you locked this property up sight unseen. You told me, oh, I will perform without walking this property. So this $10,000 is going to ensure that you do perform.
How do you handle wholesalers when they call you? They're out-of-state wholesalers, and do they weasel around that? Like, because one of my favorite scripts is, well, I don't have time to go walk every property and blah, 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 like all that bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, they do. I think everyone does. And that's just something that you have to be firm with them about. You have to tell them, look, I'm in control. I have this property under contract. That's the thing that most buyers, and I mean, even wholesalers don't realize. When you have this property under contract, you are in control. You have all the power. You could tell every single buyer to go fuck off. You could tell them, like, yes, I'll take your deal. You can tell them, I want $20,000 earnest if you want to buy this from me. You hold all the power. And a lot of these buyers, they see themselves, I think they see themselves above wholesalers because they're like, oh, you know, y'all have no skin in the game just because, you know, you're locking this up for $500 earnest, and, you know, I'm the one that's really taking the risk. I'm the one that's blah, blah, blah. Guess what? I'm the one with the contract. I'm the one that has the ability to tell you yes or no. I'm the one that has the ability to, and I mean, the thing that I love with working here is we're buyers too. So guess what? I also have the ability to close on this. I tell buyers that all the time. They always try to little boy me, and I'm like, as soon as they try to do that to me, I tell them, okay, fuck off, I'll close on this, and I mean, I'll show you, I'll send you screenshots of my Zillow listing in 2 months once we do the rehab. And I mean, most of the time that makes them shut up, and they're like, oh, I'm not dealing with, you know, some kid straight out of high school that's just been wholesaling for a couple months. But you just have to be firm, and you have to show these buyers, like, I'm the one with the power, I'm the one with the control, I'm the one that decides the terms of these deals, and you either abide by them or you fuck off and go buy another wholesaler's deal. Because, yeah, I just don't play that. And it helps knowing who has the powers in these situations. Because, I mean, once we assign the property to them, once they have earnest in, guess what? They then have the power. Until that happens, you have zero power. You are random Big Joe coming to me off the streets asking for my property and my info. But
how do you handle, because I actually ran into it not that long ago, the other week, investor came to me. It was a deal down in Houston. They locked it up on a Friday. They needed EMD that day, right? The buyer was kind of wishy-washy on them, trying to say, no, we want 3-day option. They said, no option, EMD by the end of the day. They dragged it out over the weekend. They never placed EMD, and then they backed out of it on like Friday or Tuesday. So during that overtime, they had other offers come in. They lost those other offers because they said, no, we have one under contract already. And then by the end of the thing, they ended up going past their option period too. So how do you handle multiple options? How do you sorry, not multiple options, multiple offers? What happens if somebody comes in under? How do you keep them on the hook while still getting that higher offer, right? Without losing that lower offer.
Yeah, so one thing, I do not do option periods. So if you want to buy my property, like I said, I want you to walk it prior to sending me your offer. Or if you really need an option period, like so I'm going to show you on my assignment. This is how I deal with it. So on my assignment, it specifically says, we can go over the assignment later. I would like to go over this. I have a lot of people that ask questions about it. So on here, we have my deposit agreement. So here we go. If deposit is not sent to either us or the title company within 24 hours of execution of this assignment, the assignment will be null and void. So from the time that you sign this contract, if we do not have earnest in either with us or title, this assignment is over and I'm marketing it again already. Matter of fact, I continue marketing until I get earnest in.
So my conversation with that investor was, listen, until you get the earnest money, your negotiation with everybody, okay?
Yeah.
All the other people that you're talking to, you kind of let them know, hey, listen, I have an offer that I accepted at a higher price. I'm going to keep your offer in my back pocket. If anything should happen with him, if he doesn't send his EMD in by midnight of Friday, I'm going to execute yours, right? I'm going to move over to
Yeah.
yours. I'll send yours out, right? X, Y, Z. But you keep all of that. All of that is out in the open, right? You have that negotiation and you have that communication with both buyers, right? The one buyer, hey, listen, I'm going to hold on to your document, but if you don't get this in by 5 p.m. to title, fuck off, right? I'm not getting dragged around. Likewise, hey, sir, I understand you came in a little bit less. I have somebody, I'm not playing a bidding game. If he can't perform for whatever reason, you're right up there. I'm going to get you taken care of, right?
Yeah, communication is key, and I do that so many times. I will tell people, like they'll either, whether it's them following up with me or me following up with them, I will tell them like, I have an assignment out. This buyer has until X amount of time to deposit earnest. If they don't, you're my next highest offer. I even tell them, you know, you're my second or third highest offer. I have no problem telling people what my offers are. I think that's one thing that kind of separates me from other wholesalers. They try to use it as a negotiation tactic, and they think that it's all sales, blah, blah, blah. There's so many times where I literally send buyers a screenshot of my CRM with the other offers, and I'm like, look, this is what you're up against. You either beat it or you don't. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, because I mean, a lot of buyers don't like when wholesalers do that and waste your time like, oh, I have another higher offer at the moment. Just let me know your highest and best. And then they tell you, they come up at 2,000 and you're like, oh, I have a higher offer. Let me know your highest. Like, you tell them like, look, I have an offer at 55. If you can do fucking 60, it's yours. Or if you can do 66, it's yours. And then they'll either say yes or no. And we're cutting so much bullshit time between me and the buyers.
And on the acquisition side too, right? Like just communicating with you, just saying, hey, listen, this is my offer. Would this get the deal done?
Yeah.
Yes or no? No, I really need it at Y, right? Like, I need it at this other number. That negotiation goes so fucking far. How many times does Tony and I just blast an offer on Facebook, on the deal, just saying, walking through the numbers, all right, well, if you bought it at this, the ARV is this, the repairs are that, this is what we would need it at. You'd be surprised where people actually come back in the DMs and say, all right, let's, help me with this. Let me, help me get it to that number, right? Because a lot of times people have issues on the negotiation side. So just throw it out there and be upfront with everything.
Let's see, where is... Okay, so we went over the email blast. So that's really simple and easy. The next thing, so if I've gone through step 1 of sending it to my VIP buyers, that didn't get the deal sold. Then I'm on step 2 of my email blast. Step 3 is gonna be, we're gonna start posting this deal everywhere. So the places that I post these deals at are, one, our website. Obviously, that's kind of the first thing that I really do is I just wanna make sure my website is always updated. So I'm gonna post it on my website. I'm gonna post it all over Facebook. Facebook is my king. I love Facebook. Oh, I don't care any other websites you see on here, anything else. Nothing compares to Facebook. I have not sold as many deals on any other platform as much as I have Facebook. I have not gotten as many buyers on any other platform as much as I have Facebook. I have not met as many wholesalers on any other platform as much as I have on Facebook. I have not gotten my name and face out on any other platform as much as I have on Facebook.
How much money have you spent on Facebook?
$0. $0. I don't do no Facebook ads. I don't, all I do is I go to Facebook, I look up Texas real estate, Dallas real estate, DFW real estate in Texas, and I add myself in 50 to 100 different Facebook groups. And whenever I get a deal, I make my marketing message, I copy it, copy paste, next, copy paste, next, copy paste, next. Actually, let's show them.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure if you're on Facebook and you're in Texas, you can go to any single Facebook group, you can look up my name, and I guarantee you, you will see deals from me. Boom. And this is what my Facebook marketing messages look like. I mean, I put where the property is located. I don't put the address, but all the other info is there. We have 3-bed, 1.5 bath, square footage, ARV, estimated rehab, all this. I mean, there's so many posts in here. These probably go back years, 2021, 2023. So these were what all my Facebook posts look like, and it's as simple as that. I don't do anything more or less than just going on Facebook groups and posting it. Matter of fact, if you want to start building your buyers list, I will give you free buyers. Go here, look up my name, and start freaking looking under the comments. Like this post right here has 37 comments, and it's nothing but buyers. I just gave you 37 buyers right here.
I can actually, and I don't mean to like that is the tool to use, but what I like to do is just do the straight search for Gmail, and you will, just doing @gmail.com, right, that placeholder, you'll start finding posts with emails only in them, and that's how you build your list, really, truly.
At Hotmail, at Yahoo, anything.
At anything, right, .com. Always.
I used to have
Facebook is such a fucking great tool. Nobody,
no one fucking uses it.
Everybody wants to pay money though for God mode. Let's jump into God mode.
Alrighty, so next place that let's see.
Sorry.
No worries. So really quick, so these are just right now we're posting it everywhere. We'll go into God mode in a second. So on InvestorLift, you can post deals on there. There's a marketplace on InvestorLift. I do it because we have it. It's accessible. It's there. I don't think I've ever sold a deal on InvestorLift Marketplace. Trelly is another place. I have sold deals on Trelly's Marketplace. Trelly is really good for that. But just looking at InvestorLift, so if you go here to properties, these are deals that I have posted in here, and just an example of what it might look like. Let's see. View published deal. So this is what buyers see. So this is a deal that we got in Granbury. It's as simple as this. I mean, there's pictures. You have all the property specs. I did not do this. So this is what InvestorLift does. InvestorLift makes you jump through hoops to get information. Another reason I don't really like posting on their marketplace. I would never do that, but like I said, you have to have an account, you have to be logged in, you have to be verified, all this to get information. But InvestorLift is one place I post deals on. Another one is Trelly. So Trelly, it's kind of the same thing. You just put all your property details in there. Looks just like this. So Trelly does a better job. They don't make you jump through hoops. Trelly gives all the information. Right then and there, they have all the pictures, the little description that I put, the beds, baths, my asking price. You can make an offer on Trelly. You can save, you can share, you can message. So these are just the places that I like to post my deals on.
Huge shout out to Josh.
Yeah, I love Trelly. Trelly's one of the, other than Facebook, probably my second favorite marketplace to post deals on that have brought me buyers. The thing about InvestorLift Marketplace is it is a platform for wholesalers, and unfortunately it has gotten oversaturated with wholesalers, especially JV wholesalers specifically, because InvestorLift is nationwide. So we have people out, I have people out in New York, you know, they know that DFW has a nice marketplace, so they just spend all day just inquiring. Like if we see here, we have property inquiries. See, so this person inquired on my property. I don't know if they're a freaking wholesaler or not. They don't even have any information about them. A lot of these people are wholesalers. If you read about it, like this guy right here, literally listed themselves as a wholesaler. This person's a wholesaler. This person's a wholesaler. So all these people, these are people that inquire, but these aren't technically buyers. Just because, yeah, they're not end buyers. Just because they're on here, a lot of them are JV. And you'll notice that whenever, I guarantee you, if I call some of these people, they're like, oh, I just wanted to see if I can market your deal out to some of my, cash investors. I can add my fee on top, or, we can do a 50-50 split.
So, well, that does bring up a good point, though. How do you work with JV buyers? How do you work with other wholesale buyers?
I don't. Just kidding. So, if I'm gonna work with a JV wholesaler, it's somebody I reached out to. I'm gonna tell you right now, if anyone who sees me or knows me, if you reach out to me and I don't know who you are, I'm not gonna work with you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if we met one time at a networking event. I don't care if you've been following me on Facebook for 3 years and if you comment back and forth. If you're not a trusted wholesaler, meaning if I haven't done business with you before, I'm not gonna do deals with you. And that's just how I am. That's the way I do business, because I hate daisy chainers, and it makes me look bad when I have a deal or post a deal and 10 to 15 other wholesalers are pushing out my same deal at a different price. I have a select group of trusted wholesalers that I work with, And even they know, like, they don't have permission to market my deal or work on my deal until I reach out to them asking for help. So that's kind of the answer to that. So that's the main reason I don't like InvestorLift's thing is because 75% of these people are just JV wholesalers who waste my time asking if they can push it out to their buyers, and I always tell them no.
Do you answer my question in a better way now? Do you have buyers that are wholesalers or known wholesalers, right? Like my thing is like, yeah, we always like just because you're a wholesaler doesn't mean you can't buy a deal.
100%, and I think we're a good example of that. Obviously, we wholesale. We are also buyers. Anyone who knows Nick, Tony, and TJ knows that Nick, Tony, and TJ are very good buyers in the DFW area, and that's something that we always tell people: send us a deal. As soon as you send us a deal, very first thing we're gonna do is say, okay, what can we buy this at? And if not, if we can't buy it, we're not going to be like, pass. I'm going to say, hey, you know, I can only pay this amount. However, I do have, you know, X amount of buyers, or I do have a buyer that I sold to over here previously that I think, you know, might be interested. And then I ask permission. Would you mind? Do you mind if I shoot this out to that one buyer? The one thing I will never do is blast out someone else's email or blast out someone else's deal unless they give me full permission and ability to be the main dispo of their deal. If someone tells me, you know, oh, do you have any buyers for this? I have like, you know, 1 or 2 specific buyers that I'm gonna send it to in my VIP buyers list. I'm not gonna post an email blast of someone else's deal. I'm not gonna blast it on my Facebook. If you're a wholesaler and you send me a deal, I'm gonna tell you, okay, yes, I've sold to, you know, Juan Pablo over there before. Do you mind if I shoot Juan Pablo this deal? I think he might want it. And I think that's what other wholesalers don't get or understand when you're JVing. Like, they think, oh yeah, he said I can send it to my buyers, and then they shoot an email blast out to thousands of people, and then I'm getting screenshots of someone else's email of my deal that's like, hey, you know, X or so-and-so is pushing out your deal for 5 or 10K more, and then I have to go and explain to buyers like, oh, this is my deal, I have it under contract, and then I have to call this wholesaler and cuss them out for blasting out my deal.
It happens so often too,
Yeah.
right? That type of miscommunication happens so often. You see it all the time on Facebook posts, people getting angry, trying to put other people on blast. Meanwhile, it's just a miscommunication that you're probably attributing to, right? Like the main contributor. So make sure all of that is up front.
Yeah.
Right? All those keys. All right. InvestorLift is a marketplace for listing your properties. Why the hell do we spend so much money on it per year? All right, what are the goodies of InvestorLift then?
Goodies of InvestorLift is God mode, which I'm not to yet.
All right,
I'm not too
you're
yet.
all the way down on that.
Well, oh, yeah, I'll get through really quickly. So,
all right.
yeah, so
I'm going to grab a refill.
you're good. So after I have posted these deals everywhere, the next step on my marketing list is sending it to my regular cash buyers list. So this list might not be as big as, you know, my Facebook friends or my email blast. Like Nick said earlier, all of these are going to be, you know, thousands of people. This might be a couple hundred. It's going to be thousands if you've been doing this long enough. If you're a big company like New Western or something, you know, they have a pretty big buyers list. But this is just sending to people that, you know, we have in our CRM. I've talked to them on the phone. I have their phone number. I have their email. I know where they buy. I know what they buy. These are buyers that I can go in my CRM. I can filter single family home in Dallas County, and, you know, 100 or 200 people will pop up, and I'm just going to shoot all those buyers a quick text or call just showing them my deal. So after I've done that, the next thing is I'm going to do is send to any buyers who have inquired in that area before. So I've been doing this long enough to where we've sold, I mean, probably 100 plus deals in Dallas. So if I have a deal in Dallas, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my CRM. I'm going to type in Dallas. I'm going to look at any deal I've ever sold in Dallas, and I'm going to send this deal to all of the interested buyers that inquired on those deals. So because those are people that might not be on my email blast, they might not be on my cash buyers list. However, I know they buy in Dallas because they inquired on my property in Dallas previously. So, you know, I'm going to reach out to those people, and that's just a way to kind of reach out to the people who maybe you skipped and weren't able to add to your cash buyers list. Maybe I only spoke to them on Facebook Marketplace and I don't have that person's, you know, phone number or email. So that this is kind of an extension to my buyers list. That's just not in my specific CRM buyers list. And then my next step, so this is where we're going to go into InvestorLift. If I've gone through all these steps and I still do not have a solid offer that I can move forward with, that is when I will start going to cold calling. So cold calling is not just for acquisitions. If you're not doing cold calls as dispositions, then you're a trash dispositions agent. Cold calls is very crucial. Not only should you be cold calling buyers and investors, but you should also be cold calling realtors. If you're scared to talk to realtors or you don't like talking to realtors, get over yourself, because they will help you sell your deal as long as they're familiar with off-market investing.
What's your script for talking to realtors?
Yeah, so the very first thing I do is I'm looking for buyer's agents of cash deals. So I'm looking for realtors that have represented a buyer that paid cash for a property.
Did you mention how you find them?
On the MLS.
Okay.
Yeah, so I search on the MLS for these deals.
Can you show me that?
Yeah.
Or is that like, because that's one thing we actually never did, was building a realtor list.
So
Tommy, make it big.
let's see. There's not a lot of comps here. Let's use Denley.
I can use this mouse. Idiot. Even on the acquisition side, guys, calling agents is a tactic, okay? And if you're not doing it, you should be. Calling agents, networking, that's part of it. Building your list, find your tunas, your tilapias, and your whales, right? Build your list. This is all that shit you need to be doing.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to the MLS. I put my property in here. I'm only going to look at closed deals. I don't want to waste my time with actives because there's no buyer's agent for it. It's not sold yet. I don't want to deal with pending because, once again, they don't update who the buyer's agent is. So I just want to see what has sold over here. So this is giving me 20 results in this area. So now what I'm looking for, and I mean, I like to do, I'm gonna get as many results as possible because, like I said, I'm looking for cash sales, and not all of these are gonna be cash. Some of them are gonna be conventional, some of them are gonna be VAs. So I'm gonna go here and I wanna look for cash sales because anyone who purchases a property cash, 9 times out of 10 is an investor. So boom, this very first one, cash sale. So this investor or person bought this property for $130,000 cash. I don't know a lot of non-real estate investors who have $130,000 cash to put on this. So my first step, I know I said I'm cold calling realtors, but my goal is to not have to cold call the realtor. My goal is to get a hold of this buyer. So what I want to do is I want to see, okay, who bought this property? So I'm going to go to Tax Realist. This was purchased by Nahu Mendez and Lucero Portilla.
I'm so happy you said that.
And then to verify that, you can go over here to history, and this will actually show you who the buyer and seller was of this property. So I see that Nahu and Lucero bought this property, on January, February, March, April, May. May 31st in 2024. So these are the buyers. So these are going to be the people that I try to get a hold of. I'm going to skip trace them, and I'm going to try to call them. If I cannot reach this person, that is when I go to my the realtor. So I'm actually going to show you really quick how you can skip trace these people. So this is a free website that anyone can go to, and it's a little scary how accurate it is.
Don't show the phone number.
Okay.
That's my only, we will get flagged because we're on live. But Fast People Search is one tool.
I won't search. So if you just go here, all you have to do is put in their name and the city that they live in. So if you're on the MLS, if I come back to here, I have their name and I have their mailing address. Their mailing address is in Dallas. So I can put their name in here and I can put Dallas, Texas. I click search and phone numbers will pop up. It'll probably be like 4 to 6 phone numbers that might pop up. And at that point, you just have to go through and filter out those phone numbers, call, see who the right person is. It'll put the phone number of them. It'll put the phone number that they might have had recently or in the past. It'll put the phone number of anyone else on their phone plan. It'll put the phone number on their freaking mom, dad. I've gotten a hold of people by calling people's wives. You know, if they're not answering me, I go to their wife and I call their wife. I was like, oh, I'm trying to get a hold of, you know, your husband. Oh, this is his phone number, and I get their phone number that way.
It always goes back to the basics, right? Even when you're door knocking, you shotgun the neighborhood. You do the house you're knocking, you do the neighbor's house, you do the neighbor across the street, right? Same thing. When you're cold calling, you always shotgun everything you can. Get a hold of everybody.
Yeah, the other thing that makes me a good disposition agent is I'm a good skip tracer. I'm a good, like, freaking private investigator. I'm good at finding people's phone numbers just based on their name and their address. Or I can even do it by their address. So if let's say maybe I don't have their name, but I only have their mailing address, I can put their mailing address and it'll pop up any person that has ever had that mailing address along with their phone numbers, along with their spouse and all this. Another free website that you can do is True People Search. Or is True People free?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So True People Search, another free platform, free website that you can go on and skip trace people for. So like I said, my goal is to try to skip trace these people first. If I can't find them, okay, now I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna call the buyer's agent, and my conversation is gonna be something as simple as this. Hey, is this Rosa? Hey, Rosa, my name is Donovan. I was just reaching out because I have a property for sale near another property that you closed over here on 929 18th Street in Dallas. And I just wanted to see if your buyer that purchased that property might be interested in this one that I'm selling over here. They're gonna tell you yes or no. Awesome, I'm actually selling this property off market. It's for this amount. And then even if they don't, you know, maybe if they're a realtor that deals with investors, any good investor realtor has multiple investors. So, you know, maybe these people that bought this property, maybe they were buying it as their homestead. They got cash from their previous property. Oh, but Donovan, I have, you know, 2 or 3 other investors that I can send this out to. Just shoot me the details and, you know, I'll send it to them and I'll let you know what they think. It's as simple as that, and it's if they deal with investors, they're expecting and wanting these calls because guess what? They're going to get paid from it. Not from me, but from their buyers. Their buyers, that's something else you have to be sure you communicate with your realtor. At least with me, I don't pay buyer's agent commission. It's going to be up to your buyer. So, you know, if my asking price is $100,000 and most realtors are going to be like, oh, awesome, I'm going to shoot it to them for $100,000. And, you know, I'm going to get 3%. Y'all are going to pay me 3%. So that's something you have to be truthful and upfront with the realtor by. So I'm going to tell them, oh, awesome. So just so you know, I'm selling this property for $100,000. However, I don't pay buyer's agent commission, but we are selling this off market. So all you need to do is add your fee on top of our price, and that is how you get paid out. So if you send this to your buyer at $105,000, guess what? You just got $5,000 from this sale. And that right there is the key to how I think realtors can make way more money than being a retail realtor. That realtor, 100, what's 3% of 100,000?
We literally turn them into wholesalers in a sense, right? Like,
they would get $3,000. I'm a dumbass. They would get $3,000 at 3% of $100,000. If they pitch it to their buyer at 105, they made more money than they would have, you know, with that 3%. Not only that, if you're selling off market, you don't have to pay your broker. It's off market. And the way that you get around that or whatever is you're not getting a commission, you're getting a finder's fee. You are getting a finder's fee for this. And I even put that in my assignment, you know, realtor to get $5,000 at the closing of this as a finder's fee. So that realtor just got $5,000 that they don't have to report back to their brokerage, and more money than they would have got by listing this $100,000 deal on the MLS. So that's my sales pitch to these realtors. You know, a lot of realtors don't like working with wholesalers. They don't like working with investors. Well, guess what? If you can get this investor, I've had a realtor, matter of fact, make more money than me on this because I shot them a vacant lot at $100,000 and they sent it to their, I got it for 90. They sent it to their buyer at $120,000. I made 10. That realtor made $20,000 just because they were able to mark up their price because they knew the value of the land. They knew that their buyer would pay that. So that realtor made $20,000 off of that $120,000 sale. You can't do that on the retail side. So I think that's the key that most realtors, you know,
my
should
favorite
look
part
into.
of that is it happened because her phone rang. right?
Yeah,
You called
I reached out to her. I gave that realtor $20,000. She would have never got that had I not done this process and reached out to her. And guess what? That realtor has me in her phone, and she follows up with me all the time. Hey, do you have any other deals that I can send to my investors? Because she made $20,000 off of my deal. So that's why I think it's so funny when I come across realtors that don't like working with wholesalers or don't like on the investment side or off-market side of real estate, because they're honestly just uneducated and don't realize they can make so much more money.
Hey, realtors, this is how you get wholesalers to pay you $20,000 to close deals you don't have, right? Like,
Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, that's it. So that's what cold calling on MLS looks like. Let's see if I can find an example where an LLC owns a property. So this is conventional. I'm going to skip that. Another conventional. Here's a cash sale. Let's see if an LLC owns this. Oops.
so Benitez.
Yeah, so this was owned by Crystal Benitez, so that's someone I would skip trace. Here we go. So here is, it's not an LLC, but it's a incorporated company that owns this property. So these are real estate investors. So how do I skip trace them? Obviously, you can't put these people in Fast People Search, or because you don't have a name or address to give. So the platform I use for this is
Right there.
this.
Yep.
Oh. So this is one of them. So this is Texas Comptroller Government Entity Search. So this will give you any LLC in Texas. Any LLC or company that's registered in Texas, it'll give you them. So I just type it in here. You have to take out the LLC or incorporated.
The reason you do is because you don't know if they put the fucking comma. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and it has to match. So just leave it off.
Let's see. I think it's not letting like pop up. Oh, here we go. Boom. So this shows anything under there, and look, here they are right here. So I click these details.
Yeah.
Boom. Now I just found the registered agent under this. So this is 9 times out of 10 the person that opened this LLC. Sometimes it could be a lawyer if they hired a lawyer to open the LLC for them. But like I said, 8 times out of 10, it is the person that owns that LLC. So guess what? Now I put Roger Lopez's name in Fast People Search. His mailing address is right here, Dallas. I put it in there, gives me his phone number, boom. So anytime you have an LLC or a company that you need to skip trace, it's just one extra step. You just have to find, okay, who owns that? Once I get that name and that address, now I can skip trace that person. The other website that I was gonna show is Open Corporates. So this will show you anywhere in the United States. So obviously we have out-of-state investors that invest in Texas. So sometimes, you'll come across people out in California, New York, Florida that are investors out here. Like I said, so whenever I type this in, there's some companies out in Delaware, in Florida, yada, yada. So if I come to the MLS, I'm just gonna go to tax. Boom, so I see this company is based out of Dallas. So obviously I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna look for the Texas.
Yeah.
And this is gonna show you, look, same exact thing that this website showed you. Roger Lopez is the owner of this company. This is his mailing address. You type his info over here, boom. So that is how you skip trace companies and people. That way you can start cold calling off of the MLS.
To find buyers.
Yeah, to find the end buyer.
To find the end buyer to sell your deal.
So MLS is one place that I cold call off of. The other one is InvestorLift. So now we're finally getting into God mode. So this is what InvestorLift is useful for, is God mode. God mode, all you do is, and there's different levels to InvestorLift.
So if you're not a realtor, if you don't have MLS access, right? If you are just an investor or a wholesaler, and this is where a great tool to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is different platforms to InvestorLift. I believe there's one under God mode. There's God mode. There's cartel mode. And then I think they're even coming out with another one. They're just trying to get more money at the end of the day.
They really like themselves. They like the names.
Yeah. You don't need all that extra bullshit. You need God mode and that's it. I mean, The only other thing that like cartel and all that other shit does is it skip traces further for you, but the data's not always accurate. So you're paying extra for inaccurate data when I just gave you, 3 or 4 free websites that you can use. So you don't need to pay for, cartel mode and all this other shit for them to skip trace, because I just gave you free platforms and websites that you can skip trace off of. So all you have to do is type in your address. I need to close out some of these tabs.
Bro, you're making me tweak with the amount of tabs. I'll tell you that right now. My OCD is dying.
All right, here we go. So all you do is you type in, this might pull up phone numbers, by the way.
If I stroke out on live,
fair
I just want
warning.
you to know it's because of you. It's because of the browser.
Okay, so you type in your address. So right here we have iBuyers. What are iBuyers? iBuyers are huge companies such as Opendoor, SPH, Redfin, OfferPad, etc.
It's really going to taint the numbers.
Yeah. So
Well, let me ask you a question. What are these numbers on the right side, right? Do you stare at, does those matter? Do those affect anything in your,
no,
anything?
the only thing I look at is here. How many results popped up for me? So just from this, looking this up within a 1 mile radius, I got 245 results of people.
Is that good, bad?
That is good. That is good. So
explain to me like I'm 5, right? That's what I'm saying, right?
So InvestorLift will show you all of the cash sales that have happened in and around our property. So obviously, like I said previously, if someone purchases a property cash, 9 times out of 10 they're an investor. So these are the people that we want to get a hold of. These are the people that we want to pitch our deal to see if they might be interested in our property. So I now have, whenever I was on the MLS, we had like, I did a wide search and it only gave me 100
like
results.
150, I
Yeah,
think, or
150.
something. Yeah, because
So-
it goes back. Also, those weren't all cash sales, right?
Yeah, they weren't. You saw I had to skip over a couple of conventional and VA loans because I was looking for cash sales.
Then you start filtering. So this
This
God
is
mode
only giving us
is
cash sales.
filtered, right? And it's a lot more populated.
Yeah. So this automatically gave me 245 results. Granted, this is because we're in Dallas. In Dallas, Fort Worth, you're gonna get a lot of results. Once you start going to those outskirt cities, you're gonna get a lot less. If I search up something out in East Texas in the middle of nowhere, I'll go out a 5 mile radius and I might only get two results. And that's also a good way to know whether you should or shouldn't lock up a deal out there, because you can see where investors are doing deals. If there's only 1 or 2 results within 5 miles, okay, no one's really investing out here. No one's doing cash sales. No one's doing flips. No one's doing buy and holds out here. So this, on the acquisition side, can look at this and be like, okay, is this an area where a lot of people are doing deals? And then on the disposition side, okay, like I tell Mason all the time. He asks me like, oh, are there buyers anywhere? I'm like, bro, look it up on InvestorLift. You tell me.
It pisses me off that our acquisitions team doesn't use the tool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's funny. But that's because they're so goddamn spoiled.
Yeah.
How many times do we ran deals in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Ohio even, right? Ohio is the number 3 best wholesale, I think it is, right? I think. Anyway, top 3. But you'll come across leads all the time, and there's 3 buyers.
Yeah.
Or there's 3 buyers in 5 miles. There's just nobody in those locations. So moving the deals is goddamn impossible almost, right? Nobody's actually buying, investing. Nobody understands what a flip is. Nobody understands the whole world of it, right? An amazing source right here.
Yeah, whenever like, that's what I tell the acquisition side. Like, don't lock up a deal in an area that only has 3 results and get mad when it doesn't sell. Because guess what? I had 3 people to call, and if those 3 people said no, I have no other like resources. Like, I don't have a cash buyers list out in Ohio because I'm doing deals in DFW, and that's why it's so funny to me when wholesalers reach out to you and they pitch, oh, I have God mode. I can sell your deal for you. Guess what, buddy? I have God mode too, and just because, not only that, they say I have God mode, and so I can sell your deals nationwide. No, you can't, because if I give you a deal in some random state or city, and there's only 3 results, guess what? You have 3 people to call, and if that doesn't work out, then you're shit out of luck. So it pisses me off whenever people pitch it like, oh, I have access to God mode. I can sell anything for you. It doesn't work that way. This isn't like a one step does all. Like I showed you in my marketing, like I have so many websites and platforms. So many wholesalers get caught up just on InvestorLift or one platform, and they think like, oh, I have this, so that's all that I need. And I think even wholesalers just getting started, get as many platforms and websites. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying go out and get a bunch of subscriptions. You don't need that. But don't think just because you pay for one subscription or one thing, like that's all you need. I have so many investors come to us like saying like, oh, I have InvestorLift, and then they ignore Facebook, they ignore the MLS, they ignore just their own buyers
They
list.
stop putting in the work.
Yeah.
That's literally what they do. They think this one tool is going to solve their problems. All right, and it happens all the time with investors, right? They look for one easy button. There's no such thing, okay? There's systems, there's everything else you can put in place that's going to make you successful by using all the tools, but now, one tool isn't going to solve all your problems, okay? It's going to come back down to doing the work, okay? Even if you have a property in the middle of bumfuck Texas and you can't find buyers on God mode, right? You got to go back to the basics of finding buyers on the realtor route, right? Like find brokers that are still doing deals in those areas. Start putting in the phone calls.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that's funny whenever other wholesalers try to pitch, well, oh, you only have God mode? Well, I have cartel mode. It's not going to pull up more results for you. All it does, like I said, is it just skip traces farther. I don't give a fuck if you have cartel mode. You're the dumbass that pays for cartel mode to get the same fucking data that I have on God mode. So, okay, I'm done.
Look at how big my cartel mode is.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, my cartel is so big. All right, scroll. Keep giving me the tour.
Are we good? This shows phone numbers.
I don't give a shit anymore.
Okay. So the cool thing I like about God mode, or InvestorLift, I guess I should say, is you can validate or invalidate phone numbers. And this is open to anyone that has InvestorLift. So I'm going to use this as an example. This looks like net worth because it's Mark and Amy Bloom. So obviously enough people have reached out to them.
I love you, Mark.
Yeah, that they validated their phone number, so it'll show green on what their phone number is, and then any phone number that is not theirs, you can click this little X. I know this isn't them, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It'll invalidate the phone number, and now any single person on InvestorLift will see a line through that phone number. So they know, okay, I'm not going to waste my time trying to call this person because another wholesaler or another company already has, and they know that this isn't that phone number. And then same thing, like I said, once you do get a hold of that person, you do get a hold of the right investor, you can validate it, click it green. So now this shows, this is probably like 10, 15 numbers. I don't have to call 10, 15 numbers because somebody already validated Mark and Amy's number. So I have their phone number right here and I can give them a call. The other thing, like I said, I mean, this doesn't always give you accurate data. I've noticed I've wasted enough time calling 10 to 15 phone numbers on here to realize like InvestorLift doesn't have the most accurate data out there. So guess what I do? I take this info, I come over here to open corporates and fast people search, and I just do a little, search, and I cross-reference these phone numbers. If the same phone number on InvestorLift pops up on fast people search, 9 times out of 10, that's the correct phone number.
So just wondering, because I don't do your job, obviously. How does this work with large companies like net worth, right?
Yeah.
Is that Mark Bloom is way too high up in the scales to be answering our disposition calls? So
100%.
Is that Mark Bloom or is that just...
It is Mark Bloom because
Oh,
I've talked
God,
to Mark.
I love it.
Actually, no, Mark has never answered me. I've talked to Amy though. Amy answers.
so fucked
And
up.
Amy was nice enough to just give me one of her one of her reps phone numbers.
Yeah, it just...
Yeah, so she's like, oh, like
Oh
reach
my
out
God,
to
I
so
love
and so,
it.
and they'll give you an offer on it. So that is something you do have to look out for.
Went to a wedding once with Mark Bloom, and the man wore bedazzled jeans. I'm in a full suit, and oh man, I love him.
I love that. I want to be Mark when I grow
Right?
up. So that is something you do have to look out for, and the way you look out for that is InvestorLift filters, or I guess sorts it by the buyer score. What a buyer score is InvestorLift scores each person/company based on how many deals they've done. So for an example, net worth right now, and I think it updates every year. So right now, net worth only has a buyer score of 400,000.
Only.
Yeah, only, and they're top of the list right now.
Yeah.
Last year, I think whenever you
That's
see
usually
net worth,
2 million.
or
Yeah.
it's always in the millions. So towards the end of the year, their buyer score will go up, and it'll be in the millions. Whenever you have a company in the millions like that, it usually is a bigger company. So that's a lot of the times, like me personally, I don't waste my time if I do see a buyer score in the millions, because you reach out to Mark and Amy Bloom, like you said, they're so up there and busy that they're not gonna look at your deal. Amy, like I said, was lovely enough to give me one of her reps' numbers, so that worked out. I'm not saying, don't reach out to these people. Make the fucking phone call. Like, worst thing you're gonna do is not get an answer, or they're gonna tell you to fuck off.
Does InvestorLift filter out do not calls, DNCs?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. So I come under here. This is net worth, or not net worth. This is New Western. So once again, these are all phone numbers, and New Western is even harder to get a hold of than net worth. These are definitely people. I mean, I don't do business with either, regardless. So that's really the reason why I don't reach out to them. Because at the end of the day, they're just JV companies. So
they're great companies. Don't murder us, please. Don't send fucking hitmen out for us, Mark.
I just, like I said, I don't like doing JVs. If I go through my process and I can't sell it, it's not a deal. I don't need net worth or Western to tell me that. But coming down here, so CNC Residential Properties, another big company. However, they're not as big as the other ones. So this is someone that might be just a nice flipper. They might have a bigger company with systems in place, but they're going to be a little bit smaller of a fish. They're not going to be those big whales. This might be those
actual end buyers.
Yeah,
that we're looking
these
for.
are actual end buyers, and I mean, it might be someone like you or Tony who still are top of the company, but they're able to answer their phone and give you the correct rep's phone number. So these are still people that you should reach out to. Something that I actually had an issue with InvestorLift, and I sent in a complaint for, and I think they did fix it because I haven't seen it, but since everyone has access to validate and invalidate phone numbers, I was coming on here and I was seeing 10 phone numbers green. And it was pissing me off because, what's the point of this if someone is wasting all of our times and resources by selecting 10 different green phone numbers? And I guarantee you it was someone's VA that they just probably gave their login to, told to cold call on here, and the VA probably called this phone number and called them.
Yeah.
This one, called them. And it was multiple cities I was going, and there's 20 phone numbers that are all green. So I sent in a complaint, and the owner of InvestorLift actually commented, saying that he would look into it. And since then, I have not seen that issue. So I assume they caught whoever was sending their dumbass VA to do it. Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah. Robert's really cool. I saw him at the All In event. He's a really smart guy too. I like to see where his thought process was whenever he created
all
this.
over cartel mode and everything, and we followed up with, he's a great guy. He's got a great, wonderful smile.
Yeah. I mean, he's also a good salesman,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is another platform that I cold call on.
OCCM Inc. again.
Yeah, some other ones that I can recommend are PropStream, Propelio, and REI Pro. There's a couple more out there. These are just ones that I've used. I have stopped using them because what I would do is I would cold call on InvestorLift all day. After that, I would go to PropStream, and then I would realize it's the same data. I'm cold calling the same exact people. So there's no point of having all these subscriptions to these different websites when they all give me the same data. So that's why I like and enjoy InvestorLift, because I think they did a good job of getting the data from those other websites. And not only that, but constantly refreshing it and updating it. So I always have new, fresh, updated, correct data. That way, we're not wasting money, resources, and times cold calling the same people. But yeah, so that's it for cold calls. So I mean, those are the websites that I use to do that. And like I said, if I've blasted it everywhere, send it to my cash buyers list, send it to other people. If I've cold called all over the MLS and I've cold called, 400 or 245 people and I still don't have any offers that I can move forward with, I think I don't have a deal at that point. And at that point, that's when I'm going to go to my acquisition team. I'm going to sit down with them. I'm going to show them all the feedback that I've collected from all my, dispositions, all my research, everything. Why buyers told me they're not interested in a property, and I'm gonna be like, look, this is what they told me. Maybe I think we need to rerun our numbers. I think maybe we need to go back to the seller and get a price drop because I just don't think we have a deal.
How often does that work? Not work, but how often do you run into that if you're doing the amount of legwork on the front side, validating, making sure that your acquisitions team is actually bringing you the deal that they're saying, right? How often do you have, not that you can't find a buyer, but like
that we have to go through that
that you got to
process?
go back and renegotiate and drop down. I mean, I know it happens once in a while, but like
no company's perfect. Like if you say you have a 0% drop rate, I think you're fucking full of bullshit.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 1 to 3 deals out of 20 that we do, and the reason of that being is because we do so much work on the front end that we make sure that we don't have to. And out of those 1 or 3 deals, those are usually like deals that we're in the middle of East Texas or in another state, and we were like, fuck it, let's try it. We put it under an option period, so we always terminate within our option period. And not only that, but we're upfront with our sellers whenever we do that. We tell them like, look, I'll be honest with you, we're gonna put this under a 10, 20-day option period. I don't know if we can perform at this, but I will let you know in 10 or 20 days if we can or can't. So, like I said, it's rare, but it's not like it's not that it never happens. It does happen, but that's just we know if that's gonna happen prior to me even blasting this out. I know if a deal's gonna sell once we run these numbers and I can see what our ARV is, what our contracted price is. I can tell if I'm gonna come into a situation like that before I even start blasting it out.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted. I love that you said it because that's what I want to highlight, right? Like. As long as you're doing the upfront legwork of vetting your deals, it's an actual deal. You're not trying to push a fake deal or something that's not. You're gonna succeed all around. I think I think we fucking covered everything under the sun. If anybody has any questions, anybody has any comments, drop them. Tonight. 5:30 in our office, Dispositions, mastermind event, open office. Everybody's invited. I'm going to start cracking beers and start drinking beforehand. If anybody needs anything, let us know. Reach out. ReiAF.com. If you guys need any help with dispo in a property, jv@reiaf.com. Send it on over and we'll review it. Let us know how we can help you guys. Keep crushing it. Donovan, actually, what's your email address? Drop.
My email is donovan@reiaf.com.
All right, that was one thing I wanted to say before. I wasn't sure.
And then my Facebook is just Donovan Jasso. If y'all want to reach out to me on Facebook, I post all my deals there. I help out people there all the time. Just shoot me a message request. I try to answer all my messages as best as I can. I love helping people. I love helping new wholesalers. Like I said, it's okay not to know anything. It's not okay to fake it till you make it and pretend like you know anything. So don't be hesitant to reach out and ask for help, because there's people such as me and Nick that would love to help you, and a lot of other people in this industry. Not everyone are these big scary investors that you think that they are.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Hustle.
I've been mispronouncing it. Well, thanks, Hasso. Dude, you haven't corrected me once in fucking 3 years?
I went all of high school being called Yasso, so I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I love you. All right, guys, keep crushing it. See you soon. Peace.
I have to pee so bad.